You're listening to 101 with Tommie Zam. On the 79th episode, we sit down with Pat Washington from Lyrical Cartel talking about music and life. Let's do this. Hey, what's up, Pat? How you doing?
Doing great, Tommy. How you, man?
You know how it is out here in San Diego, man. It's nice and blue skies, and the weather's probably like 74, 75 right now.
Nice. It's about the same over here. It's about a good 70, something like that.
And you're up
So
in San Francisco area, right?
yeah, I'm in the Bay. Yeah, for sure.
And so, is it true that sometimes like it gets more cloudy up there during the days, or is it more sunshine up there?
It's actually where I'm at now. I moved from San Francisco maybe like 3 years back, and I moved over across the Bay to Point Richmond, and it's like literally like right across the Bay, and it's like super sunny out here all the time. Beautiful weather all the time for the most part. And yeah, I mean, in San Francisco, it's like give or take. You know what I mean? It could be cloudy one day, sunny another. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I've been to San Francisco once. I think me and Carl did a graphic installment up there for some like I think for like malt liquor company or something, and we had to hit all these like little like mom and pop bodegas up there and just put them in there. You know, put the little vinyl installments. I think we did like a late night one up there, and then we just bounced out after that. That was the only time I went to San Francisco. It was like many years ago.
Okay. Wait, like what? Back in like the '90s or what? Early
It
2000s?
was before COVID. I know it was before COVID.
Oh, COVID. Okay, I got you.
Way before COVID.
Wait, so you only been up here like one time?
Yeah, one time.
Damn.
Yeah. I always
Okay.
want to go, but I'm like, I don't feel like leaving San Diego. It's so nice here. I live on the beach, live on the beach. I'm good.
It is beautiful out there. I can't lie. It's definitely beautiful. I'm not gonna front on that. That's for sure. Especially
Definitely.
where you at is definitely like tropical type of feel. So I respect it.
Yeah, it's just so hard to leave the beach. It's like, man, if I want to, even when I want to go like back to Florida, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back to Florida, man. It's so nice here. I don't want to leave.
Yeah, Florida. I mean, I've been maybe a couple times. I like Florida too. I like Miami. I think I've been to Tampa a couple times. It's pretty nice. It seems like it's like super humid out there though. Like I don't know. I think you got to be next to a beach out that way for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely humid. Trust me on that.
Hmm.
Hey,
Yeah.
so I know you're into, you're starting to do this little health, you're a little into this healthy stuff.
Yeah.
And I know my good homie Harold up there. Well, he lives in San Diego. He actually, and I think he sells like these, his brand up there called Preston Ginger Beer. It's like more, it's not alcoholic beverage or anything, not alcohol or anything like that in it. It's just more organic and stuff. So it's actually pretty good. I thought about you because I was drinking it. That's what I'm drinking right now. And I was like, man, I gotta tell you about it. So if you ever around there, try to look for it. It's called Preston's Ginger Beer, and he also has like has a special can out with Chico Brenes. He has his own like little drinking on it and stuff. So it's actually pretty good.
What?
Yeah,
Cheeks
Chico.
got one?
Yeah, he has his own like. I think he writes. I mean, what Harold told I think he writes for him or something like that. So he has his own signature can, dude. It's pretty dope. I'll text you a picture of it. It's pretty dope.
That's fire. Hell yeah. You said it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
It's non-alcoholic beverage.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, it's actually
Okay.
pretty good.
I gotta try it out. That's dope, man. Fire. W for Chico, man. That's awesome.
I know, right? I mean,
That's
dang,
dope.
have your own signature ginger beer, non-alcoholic. I mean, that's pretty
Man.
good,
Things that skateboarding can take you, man. It's crazy.
right? And so let's talk a little about skateboarding. So, what got you into the skateboarding world?
Uh Man, I mean, what got me into it really, it was just back in the day. I used to live next to Marcus McBride and LeVar McBride. And I used to see them like skating around the neighborhood. And at the time, I wasn't skating. I was more into like DJing and music and just playing basketball and stuff like that. But I think I talked to you about it one time where I was on this job and I was like soliciting. I forget what I was soliciting, but basically knocking on doors and asking people to buy some stuff. And I seen a skateboard in front of this one house, and I didn't feel like walking. I was maybe like 7 blocks away from my house at the time, and I was just tired, bro. And I seen the skateboard, and it happened to be a Ron Allen that I
Mhm.
found out later. It was a Ron Allen skateboard with some like slime ball wheels and something like that, and I just took it from the house, man, and just skated home.
Oh, hold on. So you're like knocking on people's doors, doing like I don't know, like trying to sell newspapers or something like that, and then you just saw like a run out deck. You're like, yo, I'm snagging this thing.
Yeah, man, because I knocked on this one person's door and they didn't answer or whatever. So I'm walking down the stairs and I look to the side and I see this skateboard and I'm like, oh wow. And a little bit before that, my mom used to buy me like cheap Walmart skateboards and stuff.
Hmm.
And I used to kind of like I didn't know what I was doing, but every kid wanted a skateboard at one time. So, but when I seen that, I was like, oh snap. So I grabbed it, and I just skated home basically. And that was kind of like the beginning of me skateboarding, but not initially, but it was kind of like the start of it, you want to say. And
Hmm.
I was in the neighborhood skating, and my one of my friends at the time named Gary, we used to call him Geese, and he seen the skateboard. He was like, Pat, where'd you get this? And I was like, shoot, I just snatched it, man. Why? What's up? He's like, man, let me borrow it. So I said, all right, you can borrow it because I wasn't really tripping. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. But he like was with the skateboard for like 2 weeks. And I was looking for him. I wasn't really looking for him because I was always around the neighborhood, but I seen him one day. I seen him and LeVar and Marcus skating up the street. I seen him like a block away. And I was like, oh, there's my skateboard. So I like ran up there and I said, bro, give me back my skateboard, man. And by the time I had it, mind you, when I got it, it was like damn near brand new. And when I seen him with it, it was all like kind of beat up a little bit and all that. So that's kind of what introduced me to LeVar Marcus. And I was just like, man, give me my skateboard or whatnot. So he gave me back the skateboard, but at the same time, I was asking him, I was like, so what y'all doing, man? He was like, oh, man, we skating around the neighborhood, stuff like that. And I just like kind of like was like, well, shoot, I'm gonna hang out with you because that's kind of back in the day, we were like latchkey kids back in the day. So,
Hmm.
we kind of just hung out outside all day until we, had to come home before the lights, the street lights came on, type of deal.
Yeah.
And so, I just hung out with them at that point. I was like, all right, well, shoot, I'm gonna hang out, see what y'all up to. And they was like skating these little curbs and doing these like tricks and stuff like that. So I was pretty much mesmerized at that point. I was like, wow, you could do all this on this. So that's what kind of introduced me to skateboarding officially.
Yeah, that's a pretty good story right there. You know what I mean? Like most people ask that question, they usually tell me, "Oh, well, I bought this board or that." But I mean, to have a good story like that, that's pretty cool. I mean, especially hanging out with like meeting Marcus and LeVar. I mean, those another two legends right there. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, those dudes, again, I mean, I'm like a neighborhood kid, and just seeing them, jumping off the curbs and doing slappies on curbs that they waxed up. I'm like, what are you waxing this curb up for? You know what I'm saying? And they're doing all these tricks and stuff on it. And I'm just like, just kind of mesmerized at that point,
Yeah.
and that's when I kind of, you know, really kind of gravitated towards, that activity, I guess you want to call it. Cause back then I was like, I was playing football, basketball. I thought I was Jerry Rice at one point. You know what I'm saying? I was like, Dominique Wilkins and Jerry Rice. You couldn't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
So,
picturing this now.
word. I mean, I was the type of kid, man. We used to bring the mattresses up to the to the schoolyard and bounce off the mattress so we could jump on well, basically do dunks, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
on the rims and stuff like that. Like I was like that kid, you know what I'm saying, like trying to, really into sports and also into music too. Well before skateboarding, had like a little DJ set and stuff like that. So
that's pretty awesome. And what got you into the music?
um well, in my neighborhood across the street used to be this DJ named, we called him Big Lair. His name was Larry, and he was way older than us, but he was the type of guy that was he used to DJ. He made like little beats on these like weird little like gadgets that he had from back in the day, like little Gemini, like little like DJ things or whatever. And he was also into like what is it, RC cars and stuff.
Okay.
And so I used to go to his house because it was right across the street, and he had a couple little brothers, and they were all gamers too, like hardcore gamers. Like they used to have Zelda back in the days when that was a thing, Castlevania and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So,
man, you bring back the history on those, man. I used to play those. I mean, I used to have the original Atari at my parents' house.
oh wow, crazy,
And with
yeah, man.
asteroids and Pac-Man and all that crazy stuff. And then I think me and my neighbors we got into Nintendo. And that's when we played Zelda and first skateboarding game. Remember that one?
I don't. It was a skateboarding game back then.
Yeah, that was like a real cheesy one. And Atari used to have a skateboard game too. I can remember that too. I can remember that then. That was a cheesy one too. It wasn't Tony Hawk, pro skater or anything, but it was they had Atari used to have their own skateboard game. I remember that.
Crazy. I wasn't even up on that. Yeah. Um yeah, I mean, but that's kind of where I used to go to his house. He used to like have a whole bunch of records and stuff like that, and I used to go in his room and just watch him like DJ. He used to teach me about break beats, like certain songs. I remember back in the day it was like EPMD and a lot of those records, and he used to
Mm-hmm.
show me what record it came from, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like Steely Dan and bands like that, and just really like break it down, like the original samples. So that's kind of where I kind of found my love with that. And he was a definitely big influence on that. And plus a lot of the local rappers at the time used to mess with him a lot. So they used to come down to my neighborhood to, visit him and, chop it up and stuff like that. So I was around a lot of like local rappers in the city,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of absorbed that whole situation.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, just to have growing up and having somebody inspire you in two different things, skateboarding and music, and that's as everybody knows, like music goes really good with skateboarding and skateboarding has helped out promote a lot of these musicians, in their careers.
Right. Right. I mean, hip hop and skateboarding is like peanut butter and jelly. I feel, you know,
Hey,
it's
I fuck with peanut butter and jelly now.
exactly,
I fuck with some
especially
peanut butter
as
and
a
jelly,
latchkey
man.
kid. Nah, for real. I mean, you know, it was just one of those things that I just felt blessed at the time where now that I look back on it, you know, in my neighborhood was just full of talent, I guess you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? And like Laird used to do a lot of Andre Nicotina's beats back in the
Oh,
day.
sick.
So I was real like I was around a lot of this stuff that a lot of people call iconic today, I guess. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
So yeah. So you know, it was a good time, you know what I'm saying?
I bet you it was, man. You probably got a lot of memories and a lot of stories to talk about, you know?
Yeah. I mean, again, you know, Laird, he actually sold me his old turntables. They were some Geminis, and they weren't the best. They were belt driven, but they were still cool because you know you had the Technique 1200s that was like really popular back then, and but I got his old Geminis and got his old mixer, and I just remember once I got that in my house, it was like it was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I'm going to the record store. I bought my first record. I think it was like Kwame back in the
Oh,
day.
oh, sick.
And I think I bought like a Big Daddy Kane record and like I think it was Big Daddy Kane, Kwame, and like NWA.
Hmm.
And so those are like my records I used to like mess with. And then just to like, you know, play around with and stuff like that. And then it kind of transitioned into one of Laird's friends. His name was Charlie at the time. And he was like a kind of like local producer slash rapper at the time. And he had a SP, what was it? No, it was called an EPS. It was a
Hmm.
keyboard sampler. And you only had, I think it was like 10 seconds of sample time or something like that. And he was selling it because he was upgrading to a ASR 10. And so I remember I was doing paper. I was a paper boy at that time,
Okay.
and I just saved up all my money from doing my paper route, and he sold it to me for $500. I remember, and
I mean, that's expensive to us back then, but now you look at it, that's pretty cheap.
yeah, I mean, I mean, he was looking out for me, really. You know what I'm saying? I was like, "How much?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll be right back. Do not sell it." You know what I'm saying? And I
How
just
many, how
worked
many
my
papers you
ass off.
how many papers you had to sell?
Hmm?
How many papers you had to do to get that much?
Man, I had to wake up at like 5 in the morning on my bike, like the real paper route. Like I had a bike with like baskets and shit. Um,
Okay. I'm picturing you
um,
doing this now, right?
what you say?
I said, I'm picturing you doing this now.
Yeah, no, dude, it's real life. I mean, it took me a couple weeks to get it. I think I was getting paid. I can't remember. It's probably like a couple hundred a week or something like that. It wasn't crazy. Maybe even 100 a week or something crazy. It took me like 3 or 4 weeks to get it.
Okay.
And then I saved that money, and then you know, I seen him over at Laird's house one day, and I was like, I got the money, like, you know,
Yeah.
and he brought it over, and you know, the rest was history when it came to that. I just started making beats, just start like all the jewels that my boy Laird gave me
Hmm.
that I soaked up. I just start practicing. And then over time, you know, it just start being like, you know, a serious hobby basically, you know.
And did your parents support what you were doing?
Yeah, my mom was a single mom, so she used to work a lot. So I used to actually take care of my sister. My sister was younger than me. She was about, let me see, she's about 4 or 5 years younger than me.
Okay.
Um, so during the day, when we got home from school, like I was like the man of the house basically. And so she really didn't care about, because I was in the house. She was like very strict. Like she wouldn't let me go outside a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but so inside I had to like kind of just get creative. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, if I wasn't working or cleaning the house or watching my sister, it was like I had to ask my mom for permission to do anything outside of that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So she was cool. She was cool with you about doing, DJing and stuff because she knew that you were safe in the house and being creative.
Right, right, right. Definitely. Yeah. She didn't mind me doing that. That's for sure. So yeah, it was good for me, I guess, for that, for sure. Um, yeah, she was supportive to us to a certain degree. Yeah, she was
Okay,
for sure.
that's awesome. I mean, that's awesome to have a parent, because a lot of these kids these days don't have parents that support them too much of what they do. But having a parents or parent, supporting you, it means a lot because they they believe in you. That's what I take it as.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, especially when you're young and you're just a kid, they don't mind you, just playing with whatever toys that you have, and long as you are, what I'm saying, having fun at the time and, staying out the way, like, that's kind of like what they dig that type of stuff, you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
know,
definitely,
so
definitely.
it was cool though. Yeah, for sure.
The parents' eyes when they look at us, they're like, "Oh, yeah, they're gonna grow out of that." But then they realize, like, "Oh no, they're not growing out of that. They got a career out of that, or they're doing amazing things and being successful and that kind of stuff." Especially with skateboarding and music and that action sports stuff.
Yeah, but that's where that side of me, or as far as my family or my mom, I would say, kind of separated, I guess, when I got older.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I used to always tell her, because again, I was in the house a lot, and then when I did go outside, it was one of those things where, again, I had to come home at a certain time, stuff like that, just like any normal kid, but
Yeah.
it was still a little restricted, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But when I got 16, it was like I was at that age where, I kind of wanted my freedom, you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And that's where we kind of it start, getting a little rift, I would say, between our relationship at that time. And it just, I put it to you like this. Actually, I was 15. Um, I remember one time, I used to go to the store for my mom, right?
Hmm.
And when I'll go to the store, again, I'm in a neighborhood full of my homies, like kids, all types of walks of life, you know what I'm saying? Girls,
Yeah.
guys, da da da. So when I walk to the store, I'll always run into one of my guys, and they'd be like, "Pat, what's going on, man?" You know what I'm saying? Like, we over here with these girls and stuff like that. We just kicking it. And like, it could be like literally around the corner, right? So what I would do, I would like go, like they'll be like, come on, come hang out with us for a second. So I'll go hang out real quick, maybe like 5-10 minutes, and be like, damn man, I want to kick it. Then I'll be like, all right, well fuck it, I gotta go home. I gotta go to the store for my mom and then come back. So I remember one time that happened, and when I came back home, I asked her, I was like, yo, like, my friends is outside, they want me to come, hang out, blah blah blah. And she was just a really strict mother, you know what I'm saying? And she wouldn't let me go.
Hmm.
And I remember that day where at the time she had a boyfriend too, and her boyfriend would always come over and stuff like that. And me and him was cool, but we weren't like the coolest.
Yeah.
And this is like around the time where I'm into skateboarding more and I'm into music more. So
Hmm.
it's like two lives going at once, I guess you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
And so we got into this big argument when I was 15 because she told me when I turned 15, she'll give me a little bit more leadway. And
Yeah.
so I brought that up to her, and then we just got into this big argument. And I ended up leaving the house. Like, fuck it, I'm leaving the house. You know what I'm saying? Fuck what
Yeah.
you talking about. It is what it is. Like, you can beat me, do whatever you want, but I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying?
You're like, I'm 15. You told me I could leave when I'm 15.
Yeah, that's where I was at that time, So I remember leaving, and then, I went to go hang out with my boys where the girls was at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're like 15. Like, yo, I gotta hang out with this chica over here.
Yeah, man. I wanted to chill. It wasn't like I was having sex or anything. You know what I'm saying? I was just hanging out. You know what I mean? And so that was the start of, I guess, my independence per se. And
Hmm.
maybe a couple days after that, I like left home because, mind you, I was hanging out with LeVar and Marcus and Geese in the neighborhood. Like, we'll go skate, and then after that, they'll go downtown to Embarcadero. And I've never been to downtown San Francisco my whole life.
Really?
And yeah, but the crazy thing about my neighborhood, I stayed in the Sunset District, which is at near the beach. I stayed on like 48th Avenue, like basically the last stop of the N train.
Hmm.
And the N train goes all the way to Embarcadero, like, and that's the last stop, right?
Yeah.
So I'd never been on the train per se. Like, we used to hop on the back of the train, and like back in the day, old school style, like you'll hop on the back of the train and ride it up the hill and then jump
Yeah.
off type of thing. So that's how far we went. You know what I'm saying? At least me. And LeVar and Marcus's mom, they were way more lenient, and Geeze's mom. So they were always downtown. Um, so one day I just had it in myself. I just said, well, I'm gonna go downtown, dude. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm done. And I packed myself like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a couple peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. and, I, and I left, dude, and I jumped on the train. And mind you, this is my first time on the train going that far. And Um, all I can tell myself was get off at the last stop at Embarcadero. Like, that
Okay.
was all I could think of. And I ended up getting off on at Montgomery, which is like a block, like a couple blocks. It was basically a stop before the stop I posted got off of, right?
Yeah.
And so I get off the train and I go up the escalator and I look and it's just people everywhere, just walking and shit. I'm like, what the? And I'm like lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where I'm at. I'm just looking around like, what the hell? And so I asked somebody, like, where's Embarcadero? And they just pointed down at the clock tower.
Hmm.
And they were like, yeah, just go down. You see that clock down there? I'm on Market Street. And they're like, just walk all the way down till you get to the clock. You'll be at Embarcadero. And so I walk all the way down. Well, I skate down there, and then right before I get to the clock tower, I run into EMB Plaza,
Hmm.
and then I just see all these skaters and all this shit. And so I'm like, what? Like, I'm just like, whoa. Like, I was mesmerized, man. It was just all the skaters. Then I seen LeVar and Marcus, and I seen Geese. So I'm like, yo, what's up? And they're just tripping, like, what the hell are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, man, I left home, man. I don't care, man. She was tripping, all this shit. And they introduced me to Matt Robinson.
Oh, sick.
And so me and Matt is chilling that whole day with them and everything. Basically, I meet like Shamil, Randall, I meet Ben Sanchez, I meet everybody basically that day because they
Mhm.
they knew everybody. And so I'm chilling and basically it's turning nighttime and I basically follow everybody to the TL, right? Because Matt
Mhm.
Robinson and like Shelby Woods and all those dudes were going, they were leaving. It was getting dark. So people like, what's up, Pat? What you doing, man? So I just followed them. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I'm in Shelby Woods' house and everybody's drinking. And this is the first time I really like was drinking like that. Like they're drinking 40s,
Mhm.
stuff like that. And I remember it was like 12 o'clock, and Matt looks over to me. He was like, bro, what the hell you doing here still? Like, what are you doing? I was like, man, I ran away. He was like, what? Like, what I'm saying? And ever since then, man, he just took me under his wing, man. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
just like, all right, well, fuck it, man. You hang out with me, man. I got you. So basically, if it wasn't for Matt, like really looking out for me, I don't know what would have happened. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
literally.
Well, I mean,
So
that's pretty awesome. I mean, think about it. I mean, that's the skateboard culture. You know what I mean? We look after everybody. You know?
mm, we do. Yeah, it's like a family situation for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's cool that, and it's funny that you're like, you know what? I'm out of here, mom. Peace. Packed up you got the whole lunch and everything. Jump on the train and cruising down, and and first time in the city and enjoying that. I mean, that's just, that's a lot of stories and a lot of memories in your head from everything. And is that where you start getting into more, more and more skateboarding, and industry people start noticing you who you are.
Well, that was the beginning of me like really taking skateboarding like super serious, I guess.
Hmm.
Because I was just around a lot of the dudes that were like, either sponsored or, you know, about to be sponsored or pro or whatever it was. So um it just opened up a whole world for me that I just didn't even know knew exists, basically. And at the same time, I had to grow up real fast because again, I'm out here. My mom don't know where I'm at,
Hmm.
and I'm with Matt, and he's showing me the ropes, and just like kind of like survival mode. He kind of showed me the ropes on how to survive in the streets. Really, I have to give it up to that man because, like, it was like a crash course on, you know, just the hood, the like just life.
Hmm.
Especially in the TL because at that time the TL had a lot of pimps and prostitutes and stuff back then,
Hmm.
and you know and they used to drink and do all that stuff. I got into drinking that way and things like that. And it was just an experience, man. It was just like a crash course to like real life, I guess you want to call it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, 100.
And
percent No,
yeah.
and honestly, that's where you know our age, our generation, and our that age of 15, 16. I mean, that's what it's the same in a way. It's kind of the same story with me when I was young, about that age too, 15, 14, stuff. Like me and my neighborhood kids, we used to go and hang out with the older cats, that skateboarded, and they taught us the ropes exact same way, and it's just different at that in our generation. It's just more, we were more taught about the streets than we are book smart, you know?
Right. Definitely. I mean, but even on the book side of things, as I was, out there and get acclimated to everything and, meeting new people, I remember the first like books that kind of changed my life when I was out there was well, actually it was more conversation and then it was books. I had
Hmm.
met these guys from New Mexico, and there were some skaters that came up to the city and they had like a an apartment, and they used to let us crash there and stuff like that. And they used to like just bring up all this like conspiracy theory stuff and the stuff I've never even heard or even thought existed. You know what I'm saying? So, that would kind of really open my eyes with like, if you want to call it like, again, like conspiracy, like, government stuff or whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it, or just people, doing stuff that you wouldn't think they would be doing, right?
yeah,
And that kind of led into like, you know, it's like the ghetto gospels, man. People had to be the behold the pale horse, or and that was one book that we used to go on shrooms and read that. It'd be a group of us, you know what I'm saying? We'd be on shrooms reading the behold the pale horse. One person will read one chapter, the other person will read the other one. You know what I'm saying? And so though that was me really getting introduced to, I guess, books. But
mhm.
mind you, when I was on the street, I still went to school.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
yeah, I was still in high school, and I would literally wake up in a house full of skaters and go to school. You know what I'm saying?
That's smart.
And
That's very smart.
I mean, but because I thought, I don't know. I don't even know why I even did it. Tell you the truth, I just thought I just had to go to school.
Hmm.
And I did that for a couple years up until the 12th grade. And right before I was about to graduate, I just never went back, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like 2 months I was going to graduate, and I didn't go back. And that was around the time where I was getting recognized in skateboarding. And I think I got my first sponsors around that time.
And who was those first sponsors? Do you remember?
Uh, yes, I do. It was what was that name? It was called Trust Skateboards. It was
Okay.
me, Eric Ellington, um, Brad Johnson,
Oh, wow.
and somebody else. I can't remember. But I think it was my boy Serge at the time, actually. And but me and Eric Ellington, he had came out. I met him through Trust.
And
I
that was
think it
before
was
Zero, right?
that was before
What
um
was it? Toy Machine.
experience. It
Okay.
was like profile experience and all that, but that was before that, you
Okay.
know. And it was me and Eric Ellington and Brad, but Brad had a place to stay. Me and Eric Ellington didn't. We used to stay with the owner of Trust,
Hmm.
and we used to go out every night and film, like every night. And that guy, he stayed out in Concord somewhere, and we used to go out there and just find spots and just film it and just film basically. And me and him grew up into we had a real good friendship at the time. And then that that company went down, and then it was a company called Experience.
Hmm.
And Experience was with that was me, Matt Robinson, Ed Loftus, uh I want to say Drake was on there for a second.
Okay.
He was pro on there. I think who else was on there? Jamie Thomas was on there. Yeah, so it was that whole little thing. It was basically profile skateboards and experienced skateboards was like, it was kind of like a all in one house. It was owned by the same person, but it was like a mini distribution back then. You get what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like Krill Tap, kind of like Girl Chocolate.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
like the
yeah.
early stages of that, basically.
And then what I was talking about earlier was that was before Eric Ellington got on Zero, correct? That was when he was on.
Yeah. Way before that. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
because I
I
remember
mean,
Eric Ellington used to ask us if he can sleep at our house here in San Diego. I think it was probably right before. I think when Jamie was hooking him up down here.
mm,
Yeah. So yeah, I remember that. I remember Eric used to always beg, "Hey, can I crash at your house?" Or sometimes we'll come home and he'll be sleeping on the porch.
yeah, dude, me and Eric, man, we were homeless skaters, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were like the kid homeless skaters, but hella good. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Trying to make it.
definitely, definitely. And then,
You know?
one of the questions I want to ask you is: so, when you moved to the city and everything, did your music exploded more? Like you had more experience about music and everything because you living in the city and stuff.
Yeah, so the crazy thing was it was almost like I was in two worlds at the same time,
Mm,
right? Like certain rappers will come down to Embarcadero that I knew from the neighborhood,
hmm
and then they would know, like, they would know me. They wouldn't even know me from skating. They would know me from the neighborhood and doing music or, messing around with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what happened was I wasn't doing music as much, but I was always tapped in. Like it was either me doing music or rapping,
Okay.
right? I made beats or I was rapping. So it was either or. I was almost like a chameleon. It didn't really matter where I was at. Like I had a skill for wherever I was at. I don't know. That was like I guess in a weird way, I was like kind of how I survived too. A lot of the times was I like let's say at the end of skateboarding, like at the end of the day, we skated at Embarcadero, and then people would be like, "Yo, there's a so and so's about to do this show," and so I would go to the shows. You know what I'm saying? While everybody else goes and do whatever they was going to do after skating, I'll go hang out with the rappers. You know, and like it was like a duality situation, I guess you want to call it. And over time, I kind of got a little stable to where I can like, get some equipment, like the equipment that I had at my mom's house. Like I was able to grab that and kind of, utilize that because a lot of stuff that I bought when I was young was still at my mom's house.
hmm
So I had snatched some of that stuff up and then just brought it where I was at and kind of just started creating, so
hmm
after skateboarding, I was basically in my music bag, you know, so that was kind of where I kind of kept it going. Like, morning I'll skate, night I was in the clubs rapping, hanging with the homies or whatever like that. So it was a little different for me.
Yeah. So you're living a double life, kind of.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's pretty awesome. I mean, because your skateboarding career took off pretty well, and I mean, you traveled and done a lot with skateboarding, and also too, I mean, your music too is definitely taken off a lot. I mean, do you remember your first album that you dropped, or your first cassette, some of your first cassette on the street, or anything?
Oh yeah. I mean, I thought I was the RZA back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like like I ended up one of my neighborhood friends, his dad, um, he owned an apartment building that they stayed at, and downstairs they had like a suite. And his dad always like showed me love. He knew me since I was a little kid. And I guess the apartment was open downstairs. It was like a little small 2 bedroom kind of situation. And
Mm-hmm.
he offered that to me because after um what was it? Well, I was on Fit Skateboards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Fit Skateboards kind of went down,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, me and Stevie, we were all free agents basically.
Yeah.
And so around that time I got a job at Subway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so all the skaters would come in the Subway, be like, Pat, man, what's going on? You at Subway? But I'll hook everybody up with sandwiches and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's what it was, man. Hey, when I worked at Dairy Queen, homies would come in there. I was like, "Yo, I got you. Don't worry."
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was the Subway man, you know what I mean? But then I was downtown at Powell Street. So, which is crazy because every time, like in the evening, all the skaters that would come from skating, they would all hang out at Powell Street. And all the
Mm-hmm.
rappers would hang out at Powell Street. So when I got off work, it was like I was just hanging out with the homies, everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I worked my way up to management, so I had a little bit of more free time. So I was telling other motherfuckers what to do instead of me busting my ass. You know what I'm saying? so, so I was rapping and doing that, and then my boy Serge, back in the day, that was his dad's apartment in the Sunset in my old neighborhood. He was like, "Man, we got this apartment, man. If you want to come in and you know, have a place to stay and rent, rent that apartment." I was like, I was super psyched. I was like, okay, cool. So, I had a job, I was cool. So it was like kind of like my first stability spot, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I asked Brad Johnson to be roommates with me, and he was cool. He used to work at a pizza place, so we was good. You know what I'm saying?
You
And
got Subway. You got Subway and pizza. That's perfect, yeah.
we wasn't going hungry, that's for sure. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I had turned our living room was kind of like situated as like a small living room that ran into the kitchen. It was like a living room kitchen situation, but I turned it into a studio, like a lounge studio, like my
Mm-hmm.
own stuff. And Brad was cool with it because he all he did was just sit in his room all day. He wasn't tripping. You know what I'm saying? So I turned it into a studio, and I used to have all the homies that was, from my high school and all that, like come through, and we used to make songs. And I was the producer, basically.
That's awesome.
And that's where it kind of started taking off. And I just always had like an entrepreneur mindset in the sense like, okay, how can we get out there, stuff like that. So, when tapes was popular back in the days, I used to dub up our own tapes. After we did songs, I will dub up the tapes and make the covers and stuff like that. And we will go out and try to sell them. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And one of my guys is, we call him Ginseng Root, and he was just a real charismatic type of rapper. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loved him. But he was always like the guy to be like, oh man, there's a talent show, you know, on Upper Hate or something like that, man. We got to go ahead and, let's go ahead and go to the talent show after we do a song. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go perform it. You know what I'm saying? And so we will go to these like cafes on Lower Hate and just perform. And he was so gung ho that he will be the ones, I would dupe up the tapes and he'll be the one selling them, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so that would kind of got me introduced to like, oh wow, we can actually make some money with this, or it was just one of those things, not like crazy money, but it was like a spark, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I kind of took rapping a lot serious. But then at the same time, I was still skating a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like one of those things where I was going doing that with the homies. I had like a crew. We was like our own Wu-Tang. We was called the Seventh Generation,
Okay.
and we used to do shows and do stuff, and they'll come to my house and we'll do all the songs and I'll mix them and stuff like that. And then, then I'll break out and be like, all right, man, y'all can chill if you want to, but I'm about to go skate, and I'll go skate. And then I hang out with Marcus and LeVar and do all that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then I got sponsored by Western Edition and then Upper Playground in those type of companies. And it kind of like I kind of realized what I had, I guess, at an
Mhm.
early age. I was like, well, shit, man, I got skating that's kind of really giving me like free clothes and all this, and I'm getting potentially getting money too, because I was getting money early with experience. Like me and Matt Robeson, he was pro, but I was am at the time, but I
Yeah.
was so called killing it, for my age back then. And we went up to the warehouse one day and we gave him an ultimatum, bro. We was like, listen, man, we're gonna take everything out the warehouse or you paying Pat, you know? And that's what it was. It was like Pat needs 500 a month, period. You know what I'm saying? So, and
You
or
guys went in a straight hustle.
yeah, I mean Matt, man, me and Matt, man, that was my dog, man. I love Matt, man. Like he was down for me, man. You know what I'm saying? We did a lot of stuff together, man. And but long story short, we woke up one day and was like, fuck that, man. They're paying you today. And we just went down there and told them, bro, we either gonna take everything out the warehouse. We don't care what you do, or you paying Pat. And right then and there, he wrote me his $500 check, and that was my first check. And so
Dang.
I was getting checks ever since, right? So fast forward after Fit, when that went down, Stevie went down to LA, got on Girl, and then I was still scrambling. I was working at Subway, but then I ended up getting on Western Edition.
Mhm.
And that was Western Edition wasn't even a thing. They actually started that because of me. They was like, Pat, we're trying to do this company, blah blah blah. Want to see if you down or whatever. We're trying to start this company, and it was like, if you down, we'll start the company. So I said, yeah, of course. It
And
was a check involved.
was it Western Edition when you dropped you buy a board and you got your album?
Yeah. So fast forward, once I was, putting out video parts, they were doing the jazz thing and stuff, which was real dope. And then certain video parts, I was like, yo, man, I got my own songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me put my own song behind my video parts, basically. And
Mhm.
they allowed me to do that. And then, man, it was just like they just supported it. So it was like, okay, cool. I got FTC, Western Edition, supporting my music with the skateboarding. And that's what kind of changed everything. And then I got signed to a independent label out here called Solidarity Records,
Mhm.
and it was with this Chinese dude in the Fillmore district, and he had a laundromat. In the back of the laundromat, it was like a closet that they converted into like an office for the record label. And he was basically the funding of a lot of independent artists at that time out of that laundromat. You know what I'm saying? So it was just yeah, I got it's crazy, man. My story crazy. But
But real quick, did you get free laundry out of that?
I didn't even wash my clothes there. It was in the hood, man. I ain't bringing my clothes over there.
It was like, all right, we're going to sign you, but also too, you get free laundry, free laundry washing.
I mean, I could have if I wanted to, but
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying. But nah, it was just his name was what was his name? I think his name was Dave at the time. Man, my brain is so lost sometimes. But anyway, he was a cool Asian bro, and he believed in me, and I ended up doing the phones for him on my off days sometimes when I had a little free time, I'll go into the office, in the back of the office, and I'll call the record stores to see how many CDs we sold and stuff like that. And then I'll go
Mhm.
to like Tower Records and stuff and pick up the checks and bring it back to him, and he would break me off. And it was like I had so many hustles because it was one of those things where in San Francisco, if you didn't make a lot of money, man, you were done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I already came from a homeless situation. So anything I can do to make money, I was doing, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
So one day I told him, I said, yo, I got this sponsor, Western Edition. They make my boards. That's when I turned pro. And he was making the CDs. And so I asked him, I was like, bro, if you can make the CDs for my boards, I'll ask Kit from FTC, the owner, he owned Western Edition. I was like, yo, maybe he'll put the CDs in the boards. So when people buy my boards, they'll get the CD.
yeah.
And people, he was like, man, that's genius, man. See if you can make it happen. So I talked to Kent. He was down. Long as he ain't have to pay for it, he was good. You know what I'm saying? So no, his name was Ed. That's what his name was, Ed. I asked Ed, I was like, yo, Kent said it was cool. And so Ed bought the CDs and then we put them in the boards. And that's how that all started, you
I,
know?
th- I think that was a smart thing. I remember, I got one of your boards and had a CD. I was so stoked. I was like, hell yeah,
Oh, you got one of those?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened to CD. I don't know. I mean, that was like ages ago. But yeah, I got one of the boards and wrote it and everything, and got one of the CDs in it, and I was so stoked. I was like, yeah. And Western Edition was some dope boards. I mean, the boards were like, I liked them. You know what I mean? I thought it was a really good brand, and I liked what they did with it. With the jazz and and like the different styles and stuff, and the concave in the boards. I liked them pretty well.
No, I love Western Edition, man. I feel bad that I had to quit them at one point in my life because
Yeah.
uh it was just one of those things, man. I just needed more money, man. It wasn't about, think about it, man. I'm hanging out with Stevie at the time and these motherfuckers rolling around in Benzes and shit. And I'm just like, man, how can I get some money, man? Like, god damn. You know what I'm saying? So
You're over here hustling Subway and shit. You're like, damn.
yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get to this chicken, man. What's up? So so
But
yeah, man.
but
It
you're
was
doing
it was it
great.
was a hard decision, man, but
Yeah.
it
But
was
now
one
you're
of those
doing great.
things.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you started a thing called Lyrical Cartel. Tell us a little about that.
Oh yeah. I mean, Lyrical Cartel kind of spawned it from, it's been some years that I actually like did music actively. I've always done music behind the scenes, but
Mhm.
actually putting myself out there, it's been a minute, man. And I've always been like more behind the scenes with stuff, I guess the last for these last, tens of years or whatever you want to call it. But um Lyrical Cartel was basically something, man. I was kind of like, not done with skateboarding, but just like, okay, I'm older now. Let me just chill off the skateboarding scene and the industry and all this type of stuff. Let me get back into, I guess, my roots, I guess you want to call it.
Mhm.
And I started Lyrical Cartel, man. It was basically one of my guys from Detroit named Career to Brain. His rap name's called Career to Brain. And he hit me up one day. He was like, Pat, man, I want you to manage me, man. I was like, manager? He was like, yeah, man, like, cause he's seen me over the years do a lot of stuff behind the scenes and stuff, like in Atlanta and a lot of other places. So he just kind of just, reached out. And I was like, okay, like, well shit. Yeah, why not? But then I told him, like, I don't really want to manage you per se, but let me put something together that will, separate you from the rest.
Yeah.
Because when I look at the music industry nowadays, people are on, streaming platforms and stuff like that. which is cool, but a lot of people ain't getting money though, a lot of
No.
times, unless you're just a, you know, I guess a mega superstar or whatever. And so I've always had just more innovative ways to, you know, create not only awareness, but like, you know, how to get money off of this stuff. And my whole thing, ever since I was a kid, man, has always been like, let's do our own thing, like let's figure it out. So looking at the, you know, the climate, what's going on, I kind of was like, you know what, let me put together my own platform where people are able to buy the music directly from us, whether it's hard copy or downloads or things like that. And we control the narrative,
Hmm,
basically.
smart.
And that was the whole premise behind it. You know, I didn't really want to just try to just, you know, get an artist and, you know, call a bunch of people to do shows and stuff and then throw his music on streaming platforms and that was it. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I just wanted to do something more creative that I thought was actually cutting edge because nowadays a lot of people are starting to catch up to what, you know, I'm kind of doing right now. Not to like toot my own horn, but I seen it before it happened, if you want to call it that, right?
Yeah.
And so
You,
yeah, I
you,
create
you just got that, sorry, Rupsy, but you just got that, vision where you see the future before everybody else does.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, I just see the playing field and I see where we, you know, what's the pros and the cons
Mhm.
in where we're at, you know? And I just look at it in that way and I'm not scared to get my, you know, my hands dirty, so called, to like figure it out. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I've done a lot in my life when it comes to like music, computers, marketing, you know, just all that whole world, I guess, including being in front, being the guy, the so-called star, whatever you want to call it. So I seen it all, I guess, you
Yeah.
know, and I just like boil it down to like what makes sense, especially for me, because I don't want to be stressed out for one. Second off, I don't want to waste my time or the person I'm working with time. The
Mhm.
only thing about my hustle is you have to kind of believe in yourself and believe in the vision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not be, you know, look at everybody else to see what they're doing and think that's what you need to be doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm more like outside the box. Like you kind of gotta, you know, feel me. But at the same time, I still present it in a way where you can you could be like, oh, well, damn, okay, I see. You know what I'm saying? I just don't talk, I actually do it. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But
I
it's
know.
up to the people, you know?
Mhm.
So that's where lyrical cartels come from, man. I was thinking of a name. You know, I come from more of a street background, but then I'm also come from more of a lyrical, not necessarily like, you know, trying to just rhyme the biggest words or anything, more of like substance type of rap, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah.
And that's where it all came from, you know, lyrical cartel, like, you know, we lyrical cartel, like, you know, we it's still a little street where I come from, but it it still gives you a sense of some substance that you're gonna, you know, get from it, basically.
Yeah. And plus, too, I mean, you're an independent hip hop label. I mean, and you do a lot of stuff for the culture and music and everything, like, you know,
Right.
you're just like I said, you're not a middle. There's no middleman. There's no nothing. No corporation about backing you up. This is Pat Washington running his something that he loves to do. That, like you said, you're just
Yeah.
circling back in your roots, and your roots was being a DJ, being music, being around what you love. And you did the skateboard stuff, and that was great, and you got you where you're at. And then, but what skateboarding
Right.
did, it got you where you're at right now.
Right. And I love skateboarding for the simple fact it taught me how to be an entrepreneur. And I love music for the simple fact that it gives me a sense of freedom and a sense of relief, like a relief, I guess you want to call it. And like you said, like, and I'm real big on not selling out. Like making something, creating something, and then just selling it off. Like, why are we even doing it in the first place? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not, and not to knock anybody else that does it. It's just a point for everything. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it was more about no middlemen. Like we can do it ourselves straight out the mud, like a Nipsey Hustle or something like that. Just believe in the vision and just, do it brick by brick, and
Hmm.
that's what keeps me going. It keeps me going, like seeing the small successes and the small accomplishments and being proud of that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just got to be grateful for the small things, and
Yep.
that's what Lyrical Cartel, helps me do. And the more that we do as far as projects and awareness, and even the way we sell music, you know, I like to be innovative in a lot of ways. So we sell these things called NFCs, where you basically it's like a mini CD, but it's like a CD keychain per se,
Uh-huh.
and you can tap your phone and then boom, the music will pop up, videos will pop up, and it's something that you can kind of hold in your hand at the same time, still be in the digital world, if that makes sense.
No, I know definitely
And
what you mean.
yeah, so I'm real into like stuff like that, like just innovative ways to do it. But at the same time, we still got the traditional, you can download it and have it on your phone or your computer or whatever. I'm not necessarily really into uh uploading your stuff and then uploading it to a platform that they can just close their doors tomorrow on you, per
Yeah.
se, and then now all your data's gone. So, and you don't have anything tangible to kind of, you know just feel good about. Back in the day, we bought records, we bought CDs, tapes, so when you had it in your hand and you had a collection, you kind of was proud of that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I know what you mean by that. I mean, I used to have like, I mean, double CD cases with like 4 or 5 of them. And I think there'd be like 40 CD or 40, yeah, 40 CDs or no, cassette tapes. Like it'd be
Right.
40 cassette tapes, 20 in the front, 20 in the back, and it'd be double of them. And I had like 3 of them, all the hip hop and alphabetical. Okay, A, KRS One goes to K. Wu Tang's at the back of here. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
and then I gave it to the homie. And then I ended up getting CDs. Exact same thing. I got the 200 case where you put like 200 CDs in it. So I had to go get all the CDs from my cassettes and put it in there. And then I ended up giving that away. And then now I got the streaming thing where it's like, oh, okay, I got all my stuff here and there.
Yeah. And don't I'm not knocking streaming, because I think everything, has its purpose, especially the evolution of music and industry and, generations and things like that. But I think another thing that kind of let me to do Lyrical Cartel the way that I'm doing it too is like I feel a lot of the old school per se ways that we used to do things is kind of coming back.
Mhm.
Like I feel like artists is starting to realize they need to have more control over their, music or, platforms and things like that. So this is something I seen a little bit ahead of time, but I knew it would catch up, and I feel it's catching up now. I see a lot of artists like, man, I'm not, man, forget streaming, man, I ain't getting this, or one day they wake up and all their songs are gone, or maybe just all these different scenarios. So and me personally too, I like to sample a lot, so I don't like to be restricted on like what I'm able to make. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna flag myself on my own platform. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, Pat Washington flagged himself. You can't listen to that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not gonna do that, man. And you know, and also too, I took a chapter out of Nipsey Hussle's book where you could be you could pay what you want, right? It starts from $1 all the way up, right? Like
Yeah.
we got people that bought albums from us for like $100. Like we didn't ask them to do that; they was compelled to give us that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel letting the audience dictate what they feel it's worth. I think that's fair. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's fair. Instead of the streaming companies telling me what they think it's worth,
Hmm.
I rather the audience tell me what they think it's worth. So if you don't want to pay $1 for an album, okay, so be it. I guess it is what it is. But
Yeah.
if
I'll pay $1 for an album instead of paying $100 for an album or whatever, how much an album is nowadays, you know?
well, that's what I mean. It's like my platform is more like, hey, you want to pay $1 for the album? Cool. You want to pay $10? Cool. You want to pay 100? Cool. You want to give me 10,000? Cool.
Cool.
Like it is
You're,
what it
you're my
is.
best friend.
Hey man, it is what it is. So it's all support, and I appreciate the support. And so that's what it is. So right now on the label we have Career to Brain. We have an album that's out. It's called What Will West Side Do? That's pretty dope, man. I like it a lot. I think, if y'all interested, you can go on lyricalcartel.com, check it out. Um, the next album, I'm putting out an album from, since a long time of putting out any music, and it's called Make Heaven Crowded Again.
Okay.
And that will be out any day now. Actually, we're just putting the final mixes on it right now, and it might pop up tomorrow. It might pop up in the next couple of days. So that's like the freedom that I love having with having my own platform. So, but it is definitely in the works, and it'll be out any day now. And yeah, it's called Make Heaven Crowded Again.
Oh yeah. And then a couple more questions before we take off. If a musician wants to get on your platform, how do they get on it?
It's real simple, man. I mean, again, it's lyricalcartel.com. You get on there. Um, we have singles for free. Some singles on certain, songs or whatever can be free. All you gotta do is type in your email, boom, it goes straight to your email or your phone, wherever want it to go. And yeah, you can see the bio, you can see merch, you can buy records, you can download, or you can just listen to stuff. So
Okay.
it's kind of up to you.
And then if a let's say some a hip hop artist or whatever want to be part of Lyrical Cartel, how do they do that?
Oh, if they want to be part of it, man, just hit me up in the DM, man. Hit me up on the DM. Um, you know, Obviously we're in the social media era, so you should maybe have something on your page that I can check out, or if you don't, hit me in a DM and maybe send me some tracks or something like that you feel like that you want to get heard and things like that. And if I'm feeling it, man, we'll put the play together,
Okay.
and make it happen for sure.
And what would you do for the musician that want to be part of Lyrical Cartel? What kind of stuff will you do for them?
Well, I do all the marketing. I edit all the videos. I help with just strategy, you know. I call up people for you, try to get you shows or try to get you exposure. Like I'm basically like your partner. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Anything that you feel like you need someone to talk to about, I'm here, right? You know what I'm saying? I even invest in certain things like merch, like, it won't be a crazy amount of merch. You know what I'm saying? I'm not rich over here, but I start you off, man. I give you the starter kit. You know what I'm saying? And And if you seem like, you out here selling your merch and promoting the label plus yourself to at least have people go and check out your music on the platform, download the music, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever you can do to promote yourself, really at the end of the day, I'm 100% behind you. All I just ask, just don't come with no whack music. That's it. That's all I ask.
Have you had anybody come with back music? If you could say.
Uh I mean, it's always. I mean, I'm a '90s, early 2000 head, so I'm not biased, but I have my ear to certain sounds, but at the same time, I'm super open to different feels of different music and stuff like that. Because you got to remember, I'm a skateboarder. I grew up on rock and roll, jazz, reggae, hip hop. I mean, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? So I just love good music. So as long as it's good music and I can relate to it, it really doesn't matter. And you got a somewhat of a good message. You're not tearing down the community with your words as much. I mean, I understand people have their ways and just how they get down, but just have some good music, man. That's it.
And then last close to the last question, what makes Lyrical Cartel music different than other um record labels or other stuff out there? What makes you guys different and stand out more than those others?
I think it's more of a family thing. I guess kind of like what it used to be back in the days. I'm not very sure how labels work nowadays, but I'm more kind of like what you'll see an alchemist do, right? Not to say I'm alchemist or anything, but you see how he curates records, he works with the people he works with, and it's like a consistent thing as far as support is concerned, right? It's like it's a family vibe situation, kind of like a mom and pop vibe, right? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And we're not necessarily here to be the best in the world, but we're here to, you know, put our stamp in there and make great music the best that we can and support each other. So I would say the difference between us is just we really support the people that we mess with. It's not halfway supporting. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Definitely know what you mean. And then last question, what can you say to the upcoming skateboarders or musician that want to be where you're at right now?
I would just say, just stand on your integrity, man. Stand on what you believe in. Work hard because nothing's gonna be given to you. I'll say pray because I feel if you ain't got God in your life, you know what I'm saying. It might be a little harder for you, but that's just me.
I
but
agree with agree with
but
you on
uh,
that.
but and just do unto others as you want done unto yourself, man. You know what I'm saying. Um, and have your vision and stick with it regardless if people like it or not. As far as you get 10 likes or 1,000 likes, you know what I'm saying? Like, stick with your vision, stick with what you got going on, and have fun with it too. You know, have fun and be around people that, have that same energy. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
They have that same energy so y'all ain't, drowning each other with bullshit.
Agree with you on that one. And I agree with you on that. I mean, if you're not having fun with what you love, what you're doing, then you got to do find something different. You know what I mean?
That's real, man. I mean, I get it. Sometimes people want to do it because they see other people either making money at it or they're getting more attention at it and things like that. But I feel if you're not having fun and genuinely want to do it and care about it, I'll just say, the fake, the facade isn't gonna last very long. You know what I'm saying? You're not
Mhm.
gonna be necessarily happy with what you want if you don't get the outcome you're looking for. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, just have fun with it. You don't even look at the outcome. How about
No,
that? You
no,
know?
who cares about the outcome? Just fuck it.
Yeah, dude. Just do it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, just do it. And if you're looking at it to monetize on it and stuff like that, I would say, yeah, be smart about it, but you know, maybe get a job, you know?
yeah, that's true. Get a job, man. You can be a gig worker. You can be a gig worker. You can do anything, and still do that on the side.
Yeah, I'd say work as hard as you would for somebody else. You giving them 8 hours, give yourself 8 to 10 hours,
Exactly,
and
100%.
you'd be all right. You'd be all right.
Definitely. Well, Pat, thank you so much for coming on, man. And I'm so always love talking to you, man, because we can talk for 5 hours or 10 hours all night if we want to. But nah,
Word.
hey, and I'm stoked on what you're doing with Lyrical Cartel, and thank you for what you have done for skateboarding. Giving a lot of people, inspiration and stuff like that with your skateboard videos and your skateboarding and everything you do. And I just wish you the best of luck in anything you touch.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Tommy, man. You're my brother, man. And coming from you, man, that means a lot. And likewise, brother, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
wish most success with whatever you got going on. I appreciate you thinking about your bro and having this conversation, man, and letting me pop my stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we're brothers from different mothers.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And we didn't
You're
we
in
didn't
the
get political on this one.
you're in the Bay and I'm in the SD.
That's right, man. So thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. And man, keep doing it, man. Keep being great, man. You already
Hey,
know.
you too, man. We're going to be successful out of all this. End of the day, we're all going to, you, me, and everybody who's part of our crew, all going to be successful.
Man, we already successful. We doing what we want to do.
That
That's
is true,
it.
right?
That's success, man.
That's
Do what you
true.
want to do, man. You waking up doing what you want, man. And
That's
loving
true.
it. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So salute to that. Hopefully we could keep doing this. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
we will.
Word up. Word up.
All right. Well, have a good one. Talk to you soon.
All right, my brothers. Be safe out there, man. One love.
One love.
Peace. Peace.
Brothers and sisters, they bring the music, time to play the lyrics.